Hello, remember to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, post a comment below, donate. Thank you so much, Mimi. Thank you, Jean, for donating and supporting me in uploading these videos. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Enjoy your practice. So finding your seat, your feet planted on the ground, you could give your thighs a little bit of a stroke, a squeeze. Maybe you shift your weight from side to side, onto one sit bone, onto the other. And then eventually come a bit more through center, your shoulders over your hips, your head right there between your shoulders, and maybe your eyes close. And then take a deep breath in through the nose. And take a long breath out through the mouth, maybe with a sound to it, even a sigh. And if that felt good and you've got another one in you, take another deep breath in through the nose. And even longer breath out through the mouth. And then even out your breath. Find a breath that's comfortable to you at this point. Notice the movement of your chest, lifting and lowering, the movement of your rib cage, expanding, contracting. And see if you can find a rhythm to your breath, a rhythm that is sustainable. That has just the right balance of some effort to keep you present, engaged, but also some ease to make it just that sustainable and nourishing. You might find that you can use your inhales to grow a little taller. Your exhales to begin to find just a slight engagement through the center of the body, kind of to support and brace that spine, that torso, that lift. And you're beginning to even out inhales and exhales, so you're not favoring one or the other. But you notice that they depend on one another, that your exhale will depend on the inhale, and your inhale will depend on the exhale. And as you continue with your breath, just bring your awareness to your shoulders. Maybe see if they could lower away from your ears just a little bit more without lowering your spine, so your spine stays lifted. And then you might even visualize your upper arm bone in the shoulder socket. And maybe you draw that upper part of your arm bone back a little bit and down. And then bring your attention or visualize your upper back. And visualize your shoulder blades, your scapula. And then see if the bottom edge of your scapula can just drop a little bit more towards your back ribs, kind of as if you were dropping towards the floor. Just notice these kind of subtle movements, light movements here. Notice any effect, any sensation. Continue with your breath. And then keep all of that and bring your awareness to your front ribs, lower part of your rib cage. And then with your next exhale, see if you can draw those lower ribs, those front ribs, kind of down and in. And then on your inhale, you can let them again splay out. And then again, as you exhale, draw them gently down and in. And focus on that just for a few more breaths. And then you could keep some of that awareness on the diaphragm area, this lower rib area. But find more ease than effort. We'll take a few more cycles. And then as you're ready, gently blink your eyes open. Allow the light to come in, the colors, the images in front of you. And then when you're ready, drop the chin towards your chest. From here, guide your right ear towards your right shoulder and pause there, looking for a stretch through the left side of your neck. Maybe moving the chin a little bit away from your chest. And then return chin towards the chest, back through center, and then guide the left ear towards the left shoulder. And again, lifting the chin away from the chest. Stretch through the right side of your neck. And then again, chin back towards the chest, a stretch through the back of the neck, and then again, right ear, right shoulder. And then again, chin to chest. And last one, left ear, left shoulder. And then bring the chin back towards the chest. And then lift the chin, and this time take the chin towards the ceiling, any amount. And then lower the chin towards your chest. Do that a couple more times, lifting the chin. So a stretch through the front of the neck, the throat. And then lowering the chin, a stretch through the back of your neck. Feel that. We'll do it one more time, lifting. And lowering. And then bring the chin more or less at a middle place, kind of parallel to the ground. And then let's lift those shoulders up by the ears. And let's soften them. With your breath, lift. And soften. Another one, lift. And soften. And now on your inhale, lift. And this time only lower your right shoulder. And now right shoulder up. And only lower the left. And again, up. And right shoulder down. And up. And left shoulder down. On your inhale, both shoulders lift. And as you exhale, shoulders lower. Release your arms, let them relax down by your side. Maybe give your fingers a little wiggle. And then find some rotation through your wrists. You could do that with your fingers extended, or you could make a soft fist. And then rotate the wrists in the other direction. And then I'll pause the wrists and we'll take it to the shoulders. So begin to let your arms kind of circle, kind of passively. So your arms are still down, kind of dangly by your side. But you begin to find some movement of that upper arm bone in the shoulder. And then do the same in the opposite direction, arms still kind of dangly. And then pause that, return your hands to your thighs, but turn your palms to face up towards the ceiling, and then make a fist with your fingers into the palm first and your thumb over the fingers. Maybe tighten it, maybe curl it in without rounding your spine. So sometimes we'll curl it in and we'll kind of curl the whole spine. Think about just curling your wrist, your hands, keeping your spine nice and lifted, your shoulders down. And then open up your hands, give your fingers a wiggle, and then a fist with the thumb into the palm first, the fingers over the thumb, and then maybe curl it in if you'd like. And take a breath in. I find sometimes that I curl my hands and I also draw my toes up. So notice if anything like that are happening in the body, any little quirks. And then release that. Give your fingers another wiggle, and then again turn your palms to face down. Lift the heels of the feet, coming onto the balls of the feet, maybe onto your tiptoes. And then press the heels down. So you're not just dropping them, you're actually pressing something down or squishing something. Again, inhale, lift. Exhale and press down. See if you can feel that your thighs, your glute muscles work a little bit more. Again, lift. And exhale, press down. One more time. Inhale, lift. And exhale, press it down. Nice job. Now on your inhale, lift your toes. And then see if you can lift the balls of the feet too. And then lower balls of the feet and toes. And then again, lift toes, balls of the feet. And balls of the feet. And then toes. One more time, lift toes. Now balls of the feet. Now on your exhale, we're just going to lower the balls of the feet. Keep your toes lifted. See if you can spread them. Think about making space between them. And then see if you can lower the pinky toe first. And then take it all the way to the big toe. Nice job. Heel to toe your feet out. And then heel to toe your feet back in. Again, taking them out. Bringing them back. And another one, take them out and bring them back. Pause here, arms out, open out into a T, turn your palms to face up towards the ceiling, and then drop your fingers towards the floor so your palms are facing away from you. And then now draw the fingers towards the ceiling so now your palms are facing towards you. Okay, you can do this with your arms in line with your shoulders, or you can do this with your arms a little lower. See what works best for you. But keep finding this movement through your wrists. Palms out, palms in. Notice that the movement is from the wrists, not from the base of your fingers. Okay, sometimes we'll do this, we'll do fingers. See if you can get it to the wrists. A few more times. And if you find that it's a bit difficult to get that awareness, you could bring one hand and just take a moment and notice the movement in the wrist here with the other hand, and then find it on its own. And then when you've got it, take it out and try doing it with both hands. Sometimes it gets a little tricky. Okay. I'll try a couple more. And then when you're done, release. Arms again by your side, maybe shake it out. And then from here with your arms down, just like we did earlier, find those kind of passive circles. And then we're going to find them a little bit more active. Yes? So begin to invite those circles to be a bit bigger. And your arms to go a bit higher, maybe to shoulder height. And then if you'd like, maybe you try lifting them a bit higher than shoulders, so even bigger circles. And don't worry about the direction because we'll switch it in a moment. When you're ready, switch. Big circles in the opposite direction. Try to keep your spine stable, steady. And then make them a bit smaller, maybe to shoulder height. And then again, dangly by your side. We're going to go through that one more time. So now dangly by your side, switch direction. Begin to make them bigger. We won't take us long. And then maybe bigger, 2 or 3 here. And then switch direction. And then half or smaller. And then all the way down by your side. Bring the hands, rest them on your thighs. Bring the shoulders up by your ears. Squeeze and drop. And again, squeeze and drop. And one more, squeeze and drop. Take your arms out into a T, breath in. And on your exhale, right arm over left and give yourself a hug. Pause here. As you inhale, cow spine extension, maybe elbows lift, chest lift, gaze lifts. On your exhale, rounding flexion through your spine. Inhale again, lift. Exhale, round. One more, inhale. And exhale. With your next breath in, open up those arms. And on your exhale, switch. Left arm over right and find that squeeze, that hug. 3 cows and cats here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. 2 more. And then with your next inhale, neutral through your spine, sweep your arms wide and up overhead. And as you exhale, bend your elbows, 90-degree angles here. Palms are facing forward. Draw your elbows back, squeeze your shoulder blades, breath in. And then on your exhale, bring your elbows forward and squeeze elbow to elbow. Inhale, open again. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze. One more, just like that. Inhale to open. And exhale to squeeze. As you inhale, extend your arms overhead. And on your exhale, right arm down for a side bend. Inhale, come back through center. Other side, exhale. Inhale through center, interlace your fingers overhead, palms towards the ceiling. Give yourself a stretch, full breath in. And then on your exhale, bend your elbows and bring the hands to the back of the head. Breath in, take your elbows back, lift the chin, maybe looking up. Exhale, elbow to elbow in front of you, round your spine. 2 more. Inhale, we open up. Exhale, we round. Inhale, open. And exhale, round. On your inhale, come back through center. You can sweep your arms overhead. And as you exhale, let's find a twist towards the left. Left hand behind us, right hand crossing over. So we're turning the rib cage to the left side. Shoulders down, crown of the head tall. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. One more here. And then as you inhale, return the torso through center. You could reach your arms up if you'd like. And let's find a twist towards the right side. Right hand behind us, left hand crossing. Again, your rib cage turns. Your hips, your knees are still pointing in the same direction. See if you can broaden your chest. So rather than being kind of rounded over towards the right, see if you can be lifted. So maybe you back up a bit. And then as you inhale, return the torso through center. You could reach your arms tall. And on your exhale, we're going to fold forward. So if you'd like, find a bit of space between your feet and your knees. And then you could fold between your legs towards the floor. You could bring your hands to your thighs or your forearms to your thighs and support your torso here. If you have your block or you have another chair or stool, you could fold towards that. So find a place where maybe the head can drop. You can get a bit of a stretch through the back body, something that feels good. You could move a bit from side to side. You could kind of turn the head, or you could be in stillness. We'll take about 3 to 5 breaths. And one more here. And then use your next inhale to rise up. So hands can come to your thighs, push into your thighs and support your spine as you lift all the way up. And then once you got there, keep your legs where they are, reach your arms tall, breath in. And on your exhale, side bend. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, other side. Inhale, back through center. Interlace your fingers, maybe they're opposite to what you did earlier, palms towards the ceiling. Push away, breath in. And then as you exhale, bend your elbows, and again, hands to the back of your head. Inhale, open up those elbows, maybe lean back, broaden the chest if that feels good. And then on your exhale, elbow to elbow in front of you as you find any rounding through your spine. Inhale, we come back through center. And then exhale, this time left elbow towards right thigh. So it's a bit of a twist as well as a fold. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, right elbow towards left thigh. So a twist, a bit of a fold. The elbow doesn't have to touch, it's just going in that direction. And then let's do those 3 movements one more time. Inhale, elbow to elbow in front, rounding forward and down. Inhale, back through center. Left elbow towards right thigh. Inhale, back through center. And right elbow towards left thigh. On your inhale, come back through center. And as you exhale, release. Bring the hands to your thighs and then take your feet a little wider. Okay. From here, full breath in. And on your exhale, right shoulder forward and down, and let's turn towards that left thigh. So now it's a little bit more of a kind of a deeper, twisty action. And we're adding that inner thigh stretch. Take a breath here. And then when you're ready, come back through center, inhale. And let's take it to the other side, that left shoulder forward and down. We turn towards that right thigh. Find that twisty action if that feels good. Maybe that extra stretch through the left side of the back body. And then come back through center. Relax those shoulders and then heel to toe your feet back in. Take a moment, just notice how you're feeling. Maybe your eyes closed for a sec. Breathe in and breathe out. And then eyes open if they were closed. And let's find a little bit more focused movement of the arms, the shoulders. So I'll show you what we're going to do and then explore it at your own, kind of in your own way. So we're going to extend the right arm in front of us. Palm will start facing in, thumb pointing up. And then we're going to open up that arm out to the side. We're going to turn the palm to face back. So now the thumb is pointing down. We're going to lower the arm behind us, bending the elbow, and think about your right hand going towards the left side of your back, or kind of your left hip. And then you're going to come back out and return. Okay? So it's kind of a bit robotic. So start robotic, and then you might find a little bit more freedom. You could kind of drop your left arm by your side. Maybe that gives you a bit more space for that right hand to come kind of behind you, and then return out. So notice that rotation that happens. We do internal rotation as we slide the arm behind us, bending the elbow. And then again, bring it out, palm forward, and bring the arm forward. All right, and then again, we'll take it out, turn, bring it behind you, elbow bent, Get the hand as close to the left hip as you can, and you might even grab a hold of your left arm. Yeah? And if you've got your left arm, or even if you haven't, we'll now bring awareness to that left arm. So turn the left palm to face forward, and then bend the left elbow as your palm lifts. And then turn your left palm to face down, and then straighten your left elbow. Right? And do that again. Turn your palm to face forward, bend the elbow, turn the palm to face down, and straighten the elbow. Let's do that one more time. Bend elbow, palm faces up, palm down, straighten elbow. Nice job. And then from here, release. You could reach your arms tall if that feels good. And on your exhale, side bend. Inhale, come back through center and take it over to the other side. Inhale, come back through center. On your exhale, release those arms down by your side. All right, let's try the same thing now with the left arm. So your right arm might kind of dangle by your side. And then when you're ready, your left arm comes forward, palm faces in, thumb points up. We open the arm out to the side. We turn the palm and then slide the arm behind you, elbow bends, left hand towards right hip. And then again, we bring it out, turn, and bring it forward. Okay. Do that movement a few more times, get acquainted with it. And as you do this, what you want to try and do too is to keep the rest of the body as stable as possible. So notice when the spine begins to aid here in getting that arm behind you, and just notice those things and see if you can minimize those extra movements. Nice. And then the next time that your left arm comes behind you, we're going to pause it there. Maybe that left hand can catch the right arm. Maybe it doesn't. That's fine too. Okay. Whether you have the arm or not, let's focus on the right arm now. So turn the right palm to face forward, and then bend your elbow, palm faces up, and then turn your palm to face down, and then straighten your elbows as if you were pressing something down towards the floor. And then try that a few more times. Palm up, down. Last one, now with your breath. So if you're holding your breath, give yourself that nice breath in and nice breath out. And then release this if it feels good. Again, reach your arms tall. And a side bend, exhale. And back through center. And to your other side. And back through center. And again, a forward fold. So some space between feet and knees. And we're folding hands to your thighs, maybe forearms to your thighs, maybe hands to floor, to a block, to a stool. Maybe the head drops if that feels good. A sway from side to side, or some stillness. About 3 breaths. And if you'd like that extra release, maybe it's an open mouth exhale. One more. And we'll use the next inhale to come back up again with control. Head maybe the last thing to lift, and your shoulders down and away from your ears. Take your feet a bit wider. And then we'll just do a little bit more with the legs. So from this wider stance, come onto the right heel and extend your right leg. And then bring it back in. And then come onto your left heel and extend your left leg. And bring it back in. Again, right. extend, and draw it back in, and left, extend, and bring it back in. We'll do the right, extend, and I play with some rotation, toes forward, knee forward, and then up, rotation through your right hip a few times. And then when you've had enough, toes up, knees up, and bend, bring that foot back in. Same thing with your left, extend, and then find that rotation a few times. Can you keep that chest broad, that spine lifted, that breath full? And then the next time that the knee toes point up, bend that knee, plant your foot. Bring the right forearm to your right thigh, maybe left arm by your ear, and find a side bend. See if you can use your right arm on your thigh to push into it, and see if you can broaden your chest here. Full breath in and out. And then bring yourself through center, left forearm, left thigh, and a side bend here. And again, your right arm could be by your ear, or you could have your elbow bent, you could have your hand at your shoulder, you could have your right hand at your right hip. But think about making space here between your thigh and your torso, broadening through your chest, maybe freeing up the neck, looking up towards the ceiling if that feels good. Take a breath in. And out. And then as you inhale, return the torso through center, heel to toe your feet in. And then take a moment before we come to stand, maybe close your eyes and once again tune in, noticing any physical sensations. Noticing any mental dialogue, narrative. Noticing any emotions, feelings. And then let that go. Open your eyes if you had them closed, and we'll make our way up to stand. So as we usually do, up and down, if you'd like 3 times, using your block between your knees or your hands to give yourself that extra push. But when you're ready, your feet nicely planted, your legs strong, and we'll make our way up. And we'll return. So I like to pair the lifting with the inhale. So kind of it's like that inflation allows you or helps you lift up. And then the exhale to lower, kind of that containment as you slowly let the air leave the body. One more time. Breath in. And breath out. And the next time that you are lifted, let's meet there. If you'd like, stay with your knees bent. Bring your hands and rest them at your chest. Take a breath in. And take a breath out. One more. Feel those legs work. And then push the floor away. Straighten legs. If you'd like, reach your arms tall. And then find a side bend. Right arm down. And come back through center. And take it to your other side. And then come back through center. And release those arms down by your side. Maybe shake it out, anything that you'd like to do here. And then let's meet. Actually, we'll do a bit more from an upright position today. So we did quite a bit with arms and shoulders. So now in this standing, we'll work a little bit more with the legs. So the back of your chair is going to be kind of your like support, if you'd like. Your hands can rest on it. Some of us will hold a little bit more, put a little bit more weight. Others, we might kind of lighten up a bit. So this is up to you. But we're going to work with lifting one leg and doing a little bit of movement there. So we'll start by grounding through the right leg, right foot, your fingers resting on the back of the chair, and then see if you can float your left foot. Okay, so it's kind of you lift a bit as if you were bringing your femur bone, your thigh bone a bit more into your hip, and maybe a little lift through your hip, but you're not leaning over towards the right side, right? So it's just like your left foot is kind of hovering. And then from here, we're going to take it out to the left side. So you're keeping your toes and knee pointing forward, and then the left leg moves out any amount and then comes back in. And we've not done a lot with the leg, so don't take it too far because sometimes cramps kind of will come on. So be gentle. Don't go too far. And then bring it back in. So a few times out to the left and back in. And if possible, keep it floating the whole time. And try your best not to lean over to lift the leg, right? So you're staying upright with your spine, and it's a clean abduction, leg moving away from the midline. Nice job. And if you're going kind of fast, see if you can slow it down. There you go. And then the next time that left leg comes back in, we'll plant that left foot. We'll get a nice relief on the right leg. Take advantage of that. Maybe shift your weight forward and back a few times. Give your toes a little wiggle. And then you probably guessed it, but we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So this time your standing leg is going to be your left. So take a moment to get a good grounding through that foot. Okay, so if you've not got shoes on, spread your toes and allow your toes to take some surface. And then see if you can float your right foot off the ground, kind of hugging your femur bone in, your hip a little bit more in. And then begin to find that abduction, right leg out to the right, and return it. Slowly. And trying not to add that external rotation. So you're trying not to turn your toes and your knee out to the right. You're keeping them pointing forward. And even if you feel like this is quite a small movement, that's fine. I think it's better to do a small one and really just abduction rather than a big one, and include there the torso leaning over, the external rotation, fast. So less is more here, I would say. And then when you're ready, when that right foot comes back, return it to the ground again. Find that relief. Standing on 2 feet should feel pretty nice. Maybe again shifting forward and back, giving your toes some freedom. All right, so now we're going to do extension. So we're going to take it back behind us. So as we take it back behind us, the tendency is for the torso to come forward. Try to avoid doing that. So you're staying uplifted. Float your left foot and then take it back behind you. Here, I like to point my toes away from me. So you could do pointed toes. And then you won't bring the leg all the way forward. You could do kind of a pulse here. Up and down a few times. Your knee is extended, so there's no bend in the knee. And the work is happening in your left glute, your big muscles here, back of the hip. And again, see if the body can be more upright, the torso. And any amount here, if you're noticing that there is work through the back of your left hip, it's happening. Don't worry of what it looks like. Don't worry how high that left foot goes. Couple more. And then return left foot back to the ground. Once again, that relief. Both feet planted. A rest for the right leg that was holding here the weight. And then let's take it to this right side. So ground through your left leg, right leg behind you, maybe with your toes pointed. See what works for you. Again, remind that torso to be upright. If you're looking down at your chair, it means that you round it forward. So see if you can be looking forward. And then again, you might find that pulse. And feeling that that right glute now is working here. You know, it is said that strong glutes, happy lower back. So doing this every now and then and keeping those big muscles active and strong helps the spine, the torso, the back body. Couple more here. And then return. Right foot meets the left. Nice job. We're going to stretch now. Those hamstrings, those glutes, because they were working quite a bit. So you choose here. You could plant your hands on the back of the chair, or you could plant your forearms, hinge at your hips, and then walk your feet back any amount. If you're on your forearms, maybe the forehead rests on the forearms. Depending how tight the backs of the legs feel, your knees could be bent. And find a little movement through your pelvis, as if you were trying to kind of play with sticking your tailbone up and then tucking it under. You could do a little movement like that. You'll notice when you try to stick your tailbone up, you get that stretch through the backs of the legs. When you try to stick or put your tailbone under between the legs, you get less of a stretch. So it's a nice way to regulate the amount of stretch that feels just right for you here. A couple more breaths. Last one, inhale and exhale. And then with the next inhale, walk your feet back towards the chair, coming all the way up to stand. You might reach your arms overhead. And then as you exhale, grab a hold of your left wrist, take it over to the right side. And then you could take this into a little bit more of a lower back stretch. So from this side bend, go a little bit more forward and down, as if you were going forward diagonally towards the front right corner of your room. Imagine that left side of your lower back moving away from your left wrist. There you go. Yeah. See if you can feel that stretch. And then returning through center, switch the wrist, so left hand, right wrist. We'll take it over towards the left, and then we'll take it into that more lower back stretch. So I'm going to be going a bit more towards the left corner, forward and left. And then I'm going to be pushing the right side of my lower back a little bit more in the opposite direction. And take a breath in. And a breath out. And then bring yourself back through center, release those arms. Give it a shake, give it a wiggle, and we'll make our way to a seat. You choose floor, back to the chair, to a different chair. But I'll meet you sit bones planted and legs in front of us. We'll do our window wipers here. So the knees bent, the feet wide, the hands framing the hips, maybe a little back so you could recline some. And then when you're ready, drop the knees from side to side. A few times. If you'd like to stay on one side a little longer, do so. And then we'll meet with the knees back at center, heel to toe your feet in, and bring the soles of the feet together as you let your knees now go wide away from one another. Now from here, a little stretch for the shoulders. So see how this will work for you. You could recline back a bit, walking your hands back. Try turning your fingers towards your hips, any amount in that direction. You could take your arms a little or your hands a bit wider. And then you're in a position in which when you bend your elbows, the back of your elbow, the point of your elbow is going to go towards the space behind you. Okay, so see if you can get to that. And then lean into those arms. Think about drawing your shoulder blades a little closer together. And see if you can feel a stretch through the fronts of your shoulders, a squeeze through your shoulder blades. You can play around here, kind of going to depend on the positioning of your hands, and sometimes just shifting your hands around a bit can make a difference, so feel free to do that. A couple of breaths here. If you're sitting upright in a chair, maybe you interlace your hands behind you and you find a stretch like that. It's a little bit more active, squeezing the shoulder blades and pushing the chest forward. We'll take one more breath. And then when you're ready, release what you have. If your hands have walked back, bring yourself up a bit, bring your knees in, and then let's come on to our back body if you're on the ground. You could reach your arms out in front of you, take a full inhale. And then on your exhale, slowly lower that spine all the way onto the ground. And then once you're here, plant your shoulder blades. See if you can stack your wrists, your elbows, and your shoulders one on top of one another. So your fingers are reaching up towards the ceiling, but you're allowing your shoulder blades to be nicely planted. So it's as if the weight of your arms, your arm bones, kind of were grounding your shoulders and shoulder blades. So this is mainly going to work if you're lying down. If you're sitting up, think about your shoulders moving down and away from your ears. So again, another way of relaxing them. Those of you on the ground, lengthen the back of the neck. And allow your fingers kind of to curl. So even if your arms are lifted up, they're not reaching. They're kind of floating, shall we say. See if you can get that sensation. Now your legs could be just as they are, But if it feels good to bring the knees in towards the chest without having to hold them with your hands, you could do that. You could let the heels of the feet be heavy towards your glutes. Or again, if it doesn't involve that much effort, you might send the legs towards the ceiling. But for a lot of us, that will involve, quite a bit of engagement. So feel free to decide to keep your feet down completely or kind of knees bent, feet hanging towards the glutes. The idea here is kind of a floating kind of sensation. You might close your eyes. Emphasize some open mouth exhales, allowing the parts of the body that are making contact with ground to emphasize that contact. And if you had your legs and your arms up, we're going to gently bring them back to the ground. So do it slowly. If your legs were extended, bending the knees, lowering one foot first, and then the other. And then bending one elbow, lowering one hand maybe to your belly, and then lowering the other. And then with your hands on your belly, your knees bent, resting against one another, draw your chin towards your left shoulder. And then press your right shoulder blade down. If you're sitting up, press it as if you had an imaginary wall, press it into a wall behind you. And take a breath in and out. And then guide the head back through center and then towards the right shoulder. And then think about pushing that left shoulder blade down and back. And then gently bring the head back through center. If you'd like a whole body stretch here, your arms reaching overhead, your legs extended, fingers reaching away from toes, maybe even reaching through one side and then through the other. Taking a full inhale, big stretch. And then on your exhale, softening. Your arms maybe come by your side. You might keep your legs extended or you might bend your knees. We're moving into Shavasana. So that might mean a different position. Feel free to go there. Remember that your Shavasana could be lying down, could be on your side, it could be in a seated position. If you think some extra clothing will be helpful, have that. Bring it, put it on. And then signal this transition between the doing, the moving, and now the not doing, the pausing, the rest. Signal it with a breath in. And an open mouth exhale, a sigh. For these last minutes of practice, about 4 or so, there is nothing else to do. Allow yourself to be. As always, if a longer Shavasana is available, feel free to take it. If not, return your awareness to your breathing and notice that it is there. And as you make your breath just a little bit more obvious, let that breath inform some movement back into your body. And taking your time. Maybe finding that joy, that relish, maybe a little freedom in those movements and that breath. Eventually we'll meet in a seat. You might choose to rest your hands in your lap or bring them to your chest. Maybe your eyes stay closed, you take a breath in, a breath out. And we take this moment to acknowledge here the practice itself, and then to acknowledge ourselves, our own practice. To remember to acknowledge all those who have practiced with us. To acknowledge all those who make it possible. And we end with a word that speaks to connection, to interdependence. A word that means that the light in me recognizes and honors the light in you.
Namaste.
Namaste.